come and look out of the window.
Why are those sheep being driven out of that field?
I expect they're being driven to another field where there's more grass.
But there is lots of grass in that field. There's nothing else but grass there.
Perhaps the grass in the other field is better.
Why is it better?
Oh, look at those cows.
Why is the grass in the other field better?
Come over here and listen to a story.
Would they have saved her if she hadn't been good?
Well, yes, but I don't think they would have run quite so fast to help her if they had not liked her so much.
It's the stupidest story I've ever heard.
I didn't listen after the first bit. It was so stupid.
You don't seem to be a success as a storyteller.
It's a very difficult thing to tell stories that children can both understand and appreciate.
I don't agree with you.
Perhaps you would like to tell them a story.
Tell us a story! Tell us a story!
Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Tabitha who was extraordinarily good. She did all that she was told. She was always truthful, learned her lessons perfectly, and was polite. She was so good that she won several medals for goodness, which she always wore. There was a medal for obedience, another medal for punctuality, and a third for good behavior. No other child in the town where she lived had as many, so everybody knew that she must be an extra good child. Everybody talked about her goodness, and the leader of the country got to hear about it. And he said that she was so very good, she might be allowed once a week to walk in the park, which was just outside the town. It was a beautiful park, and no children were ever allowed in it, so it was a great honor for Tabitha to be allowed to go there.
Were there any sheep in the park?
No, there were no sheep.
Why weren't there any sheep?
There were just no sheep in the park. Anyway, there were no sheep in the park, but there were lots of birds all over the place.
What color were they?
All sorts. Tabitha thought to herself, if I were not so extraordinarily good, I should not have been allowed to come into this beautiful park and enjoy all that there is to be seen in it. Just then, an enormous wolf came prowling into the park. The first thing it saw in the park was Tabitha. She saw the wolf and saw that it was moving towards her, and she began to wish that she had never been allowed to come into the park. She ran as hard as she could, and the wolf came after her with large leaps and bounds. She managed to reach a shrubbery of myrtle, and she hid herself. The wolf came sniffing among the branches, its eyes glaring with rage. Tabitha was terribly frightened and thought to herself, if I had not been so extraordinarily good, I should have been safe in the town at this moment. However, the scent of the myrtle was so strong that the wolf could not sniff out where she was hiding. So he thought he might as well go off and catch a bird instead. Tabitha was trembling very much at having the wolf prowling and sniffing so near her. And as she trembled, the award for obedience clinked against the award for good conduct and punctuality. The wolf was just moving away when he heard the sound of the clinking and stopped to listen. He dashed into a myrtle tree, his eyes gleaming with ferocity and triumph, and dragged took Tabitha out and devoured her. All that was left of her were her shoes, bits of clothing, and the 3 awards for goodness.
The story began badly, but it had a beautiful ending. It is the most beautiful story that I ever heard.
It is the only beautiful story I've ever heard.
A most improper story to tell young children. You have undermined the effect of years of careful teaching.
At any rate, I kept them quiet for 10 minutes, which was more than you were able to do. For the next 6 months or so, those children will ask you for an improper story.